Hello there.
So it's been a while since I've reacted to a little bit of Star Trek on the channel. I know it seems like I'm only uploading one a week or two a week at the time, and I apologize for that, and that's not my intention. It's not because I'm not enjoying the show, it's because I'm just really busy with university assignments, and then the weekends are packed with family things. It's just hard to get reactions done, so I hope you guys can bear with me. I'm not abandoning the show, no. It's just the time is hard, and while doing Breaking Bad, that's almost done, but I usually can juggle two shows pretty well, but I just at the moment with university and the assignments hammering down, it's just a little bit difficult, but I hope you guys still enjoy the reactions. What's going on? It's your boy Elie Moses, your 23-year-old law and film student here from Sydney, Australia, shooting your shot, baby. Today, we are up to episode 10, I believe now. Oh, sorry. Yeah, 10 now of a Star Trek, the original series. This one is titled The Corbomite Maneuver. So, let's get into the reaction. Let's have some fun with this thing. I cannot wait for it because the last episode was actually pretty decent with some fantastic performances as well. Let's waste no more time. Let's get into reaction. Let's go.
I'm getting no signal from it, sir.
Still collision course. Deflectors aren't stopping. Sound alarm.
Interesting. No Kirk at the moment.
Countermeasure alarm. All engines full stop.
Might be resting while Spock is taking the
Visual
helm.
Contact.
Or something's happened. Before time, there was the cube. Shout out Transformers. Except this looks like one of those cubes you'll collect on Mario Kart.
Head slow.
Frickin' Rainbow Road.
Steer a course around it, Mr. Sulu. That's the boy. Keep it up. Work up a little sweat.
Shirtless Kirk for this episode. Tick. Interesting, like a few seconds ago, McCoy actually observed the light flashing, like the emergency signal flashing, and he didn't decide to tell Kirk while he was doing like the leg press thingy-majiggy. Interesting that he didn't tell Kirk, because it could have been a real state of emergency. Like, it is, like, there's something going on, but like, interesting he didn't decide to notify Kirk.
What's that?
Undetermined. Whatever it is, it's blocking our way. When we move, it moves as well.
Vessel of some kind?
Negative, or some type of device.
Will you run up? You could see the alarm lights flashing from there, McCoy. Why didn't you tell me?
There, he called him out.
Physical on you, didn't I? What am I, a doctor or a moon shuttle conductor? I jumped every time the light came on around here. I'd end up talking to myself. All next alert.
I mean, we wouldn't have these episodes. There's lights flashing every episode. I wonder if these were the refurbished or like redone CGI effects for the show with the cube and stuff. Like, I wonder how it would look like originally, or if this is actually how it was originally.
Reporting, sir. Sensors show it as solid, but its composition is unknown to us. We can take only a few more seconds of this.
Even my mic is imitating the cube now. It's flashing different colors.
Mr. Bailey, lock phases.
I'm telling you, the Jaws theme was inspired by this show. Those piano keys, they have the same sort of pitch as the Jaws theme. But I like how at the beginning of the episode, they sort of established, I think it's Lieutenant Bailey, like the other in command, like as sort of this individual who's not afraid to like speak up, but at the same time, he has... he doesn't have the composure as the other crew members. He's a bit agitated, he's a bit anxious and stressed, and he's a bit worried at points. And that's carried over to this event here. And there's been a heavy focus on Bailey this episode as well. And I'm just thinking to myself, is he going to do something? Or is he going to be this sort of like side character that's introduced or part of the ship? Just to sort of... I don't know, because we have like Spock, we have Kirk, and we have Lieutenant Uhura, who like usually are well composed under these situations with their experience. And in the beginning of this episode, it said, or Kirk said, I believe, or Spock, one of them said, that this is the furthest they've traveled thus far. And I think this is the furthest I think humans have gone, or like they have gone in space exploration, and they've discovered this cube here. So this is the furthest they've ever been out. And what was I going to say? And obviously you'd be worried. And I like how we're seeing like the maybe possibly other crew members' reactions through the lens of Bailey, who's a bit worried here, and obviously uncomfortable.
Captain's
I
log,
don't know if I'm
stardate
right there, but
1514.0. The cube has been destroyed. Ship's damage, minor.
maybe the
My
cube
next
absorbed
decision,
itself into the
maybe
ship.
probe on ahead or turn back. The mission of the Enterprise is to seek out and contact alien life.
Has it occurred to you that there's a certain inefficiency in constantly questioning me on things you've already made up your mind about?
It gives me emotional security. What the devil is this?
Oh, fuck.
Green leaves?
It's dietary salad, sir. Dr. McCoy ordered your diet card changed. I thought you knew.
Your weight was up a couple of pounds, remember?
Will you stop hovering over me, yeoman?
Well, I'll change it if you don't like it, sir.
Bring some for the doctor, too.
No, I never eat until the crew eats.
Thank you, yeoman.
You're welcome, sir.
But what gains are you... What gains are you gonna make with that? Yo, McCoy just violated Kirk right there, man. I was just like, you know what this scene had me thinking of? Do you guys remember the scene? I don't know if you guys have seen Bad Boys, where he dips the pickle in the Coke because it's salty. He's just, how about now? Can I eat the pickle? I don't know why. It just reminded me.
When I get my hands on the headquarters genius that assigned me a female yeoman,
What's the matter, Jim? Don't you trust yourself?
I've already got a female to worry about. Her name's the Enterprise.
I'm telling you, Jack Sparrow vibes with Kirk and the Enterprise.
Repeat, this is not a drill.
Kirk here.
We're picking up an object, sir. Much larger, coming toward us.
The Enterprise is to Kirk, as the Black Pearl is to Jack Sparrow.
Exceptionally strong contact. Not visual yet. Half speed.
I wonder what happened to Helen from last episode. That's the third woman he's got to worry about. The Enterprise, Yeoman, and Helen.
Engines overloading, sir. All engines stop. All engines stop.
Phaser crew, stand ready.
That looks like a beehive.
Phaser crew, stand ready.
Oh, damn. I paused at the perfect time right here. I like that. I was about to say, I hate to keep comparing the Jaws theme to this, but I can see the influence from the Star Trek here sort of music in the Jaws theme. I don't know who composed this sort of score here. I cannot remember, but the sort of same it's the same tempo as the Jaws theme. You know how Jaws ends up going like dun, 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 and like it begins to rush and the theme intensifies. It's the same here. It's the same sort of tempo. It's just different keys on the piano. And here I think it's just a few different instruments, but I recognize it. I don't know why. It's just ticking for me. I don't know. Whoa, that's the Death Star right here. I can imagine audiences watching this in the 60s and thinking, what the heck is that?
Mr. Spock?
Reading goes off my scale, Captain. Must be a mile in diameter.
Your vessel, obviously the product of a primitive and savage civilization, having ignored a warning buoy and having then destroyed it,
Oh, okay.
has demonstrated your intention is not peaceful.
Our vessel was blocked, and when we attempted to disengage,
They're not hearing it. They're not hearing it.
Captain is being invaded by exceptionally strong sensor probes everywhere. Our electrical systems, our engines.
No further communication will be accepted. If there is the slightest hostile move, your vessel will be destroyed immediately.
That guy kind of sounds like Rook. Remember Rook? Yeah, obviously you guys remember him. But it sounds like the same actor might be playing that individual over there, the voice com. They have sort of like the same voice.
surely a life form advanced enough for space travel is advanced enough to eventually understand our motives. All decks, stand by. Captain out.
Hailing frequencies open, sir.
This is the captain of the USS Enterprise. We came seeking friendship, but we have no wish to trespass. To demonstrate our goodwill, Our vessel will now return the way it came. Laying a course ahead, Mr. Bailey. What?
I'm guessing the maneuver mentioned in the title of the episode is sort of like maybe an evasive maneuver to get away from this thing.
Switch to impulse.
Oh, damn, what in the Mega Mind? I hope they keep the distorted visuals. Like the blurred out visuals, like how it's warped. Don't steady up the image. Keep that sort of like, let the audience...
You are wasting time and effort. There is no escape. You have 8 Earth minutes left.
I was curious to see how they appeared.
Yes, of course you
Aren't we all curious?
Understand this.
I was literally about to comment like a few seconds earlier. I was literally about to say, I hope they keep the sort of appearance of this alien life form a mystery. I hope we just see this little yellow tennis ball in space. But no, they sort of did showcase what it looked like or what these alien life forms are. And even though we couldn't get a clear image, and it's up to the audience to sort of like fill in the pieces of the puzzle because they obviously used that sort of warping effect right there. I mean, the zoom connection wasn't good. That's why the image wasn't as clear. They couldn't get the right connection on zoom. They probably have they're not using Ethernet Wi-Fi like sort of the Starship Enterprise is using Ethernet cable. The other guys are going on Wi-Fi. Even though they're more advanced, it is what it is. No, actually, you know what? The Enterprise is using hotspot. They're using actual good internet. They have a better download speed than us. But I was about to comment on like just basically saying I hope they didn't reveal like what these things look like, and then the show sort of answered it for me about like that curiosity always overwhelming us, and Spock was overwhelmed with curiosity right there. He just had to see what they look like because yeah, aren't we all interested to see from the get-go what these mysterious creatures are? We heard the voice and we're trying to fill in the pieces of the puzzle, but like yeah. And I'm just like I said, I've always said I'm watching this show through the lens of watching it for the first time in the 60s. And yeah, that's how it would have been like in the 60s. What do these creatures look like? What is this? We're not visiting a new planet here. This is some unknown entity in space. This is a massive like sort of space station. What is it? Like, it's pretty cool.
Spock's wasting time. Everybody else just sitting around. Somebody's got to do something. What do they want from us? Let's find out what they want us to do.
They want us to lose our heads.
We've
Bailey,
only
no.
got 8 minutes left.
Composure, baby. Composure.
He's doing a countdown.
Practically into watch.
What are you all out of your minds? End of watch. It's the end of everything. What are you, robots? Wound up toy soldiers? Don't you know when you're dying? Watch and regulations and orders. What do they mean?
Bailey, you're relieved. Escort him to his quarters, Doctor.
Even the side characters in this show, or the actors that are introduced for like sort of episodic appearances, are great in their performances. I mean, last episode, the individual that was sort of that escaped that sort of colony on the planet, and the one that was sort of had his mind utilized by that device, he was great at portraying these intense facial expressions and having these agitated sort of a line delivery, and he was fantastic at it. And even here, the actor that plays Bailey is also fantastic in his outburst right there, and he has that intensity toward like in his line delivery, and you can see that he's outraged at what's happening. And I feel like even the actors that sort of like appear episodically or are just there to fill in not fill in, I guess, because I wouldn't call them fill-ins. They're doing more than fill in. They're actually upholding themselves against like the established actors and characters of this show.
When we attempted to move away from it, it emitted radiation harmful to our species. If you've examined our ship and its tapes, you know this to be true.
I like how with each ship-to-ship sort of connection,
You now have 7 minutes.
these brothers, honestly. I love how with each ship-to-ship connection and conversation Kirk is having, he becomes increasingly more agitated. Like he was talking to Bailey about not losing his cool. And that's what they want him to do. They want them to lose their cool.
4
And
minutes, 30
he's
seconds.
sort of getting pissed off.
You have an annoying fascination for timepieces, Mr. Sewell.
Something about Bailey. Let me enter it in my medical records as simple fatigue. That's my decision, Doctor. And it was your mistake. You overworked him, pushed him, expected too much out of him. I'm ordering you to drop it.
I love
Time
that.
for you, your theories, your quaint philosophies. I intend to challenge your actions in my medical records. I'll state that I warned you about Bailey's condition. Now, that's no bluff.
Anytime you can bluff me, Doctor.
3 minutes.
Let's hope we have time to argue about it.
Say what you want about the Miri episode, whether you like it or not, but I see parallels between this episode here and the Miri episode. Obviously, in the Miri episode, it was sort of the infection itself that was making the characters agitated against one another, because in this episode and the Miri episode, time is of the essence. It's both episodes in terms of like trying to find a cure, and obviously there's a certain amount of time before, in the Miri episode, before the infection gets to you and you go freaking crazy. In this one as well, they've been given a time limit by these unknown life forms, in terms of like their ship being absolutely destroyed. And here it's a natural sort of agitation, or it's like sort of like a natural human reaction here, of them running out of time. Whereas in Miri, it was because of the infection, but here it's because that time is running out and there's no answers whatsoever. Whereas in Miri, there's sort of like an objective. They're like, okay, let's work towards a cure. We know what's going to happen, but we at least can work towards a cure, and we're getting the resources to work towards a cure. Here, even Spock himself has no logical answer, which is increasingly putting pressure on the crew. And what I love about this episode here as well, I've always said this show resorts to only medium close-up or extreme close-up shots or close-up shots when it really wants to get a reaction of one character, or if it really wants to hone in on a reaction of one character. But what this episode has done well, it's put the whole bridge, every character on the bridge in frame most of the time, and you see their reactions to this scenario. It's not just the core characters that are being affected, it's not those who are high in command, it's everyone on the ship. And it tries to get as many characters in frame as possible, despite using the 4:3 aspect ratio, which is absolutely fantastic. And in this episode right here, there's been a lot of long, extended, drawn out takes of characters conversing one another, and because of the situation they're surrounded in, the conversations have been fantastic and intense, and you get that feeling that time is of the essence, as I said before. And I think this is some of the best analogies I've spoken about in Star Trek, or this sort of segment right here is some of the best analogy that I've said, because I really appreciate long, extended, drawn-out takes when it's done with a purpose. Because sometimes they'll use long, extended, drawn-out takes in media today, and it's just there to pad minutes. It's there for stat padding minutes. That's it. For example, I'm loving the Ahsoka Disney Plus series at the moment, but there was one scene in the first episode where Ahsoka was doing something, and they did a long, extended, drawn-out take of her doing this sort of procedure in sort of like a temple-like structure, and it was just drawn out for no particular reason but the stat pad minutes. I mean, the audience could have got or sort of assumed what she was doing with a couple cuts and takes. But yeah, this show really does it with a purpose.
Since the early years of space exploration, Earth vessels have had incorporated into them a substance known as Corbomite. It is a material and a device which prevents attack on us. If any destructive energy touches our vessel, a reverse reaction of equal strength is created.
Is this a power play?
You now have 2 minutes.
Is this a power play?
Destroying the attacker. It may interest you to know that since the initial use of Corbomite, more than 2 of our centuries ago, no attacking vessel has survived the attempt. Death has little meaning to us. If it has none to you, then attack us now.
Checkmate.
We grow annoyed at your foolishness.
Tell him, Kirk. Tell him, baby. Show him who's boss. I don't.
It was well played.
I don't mean to swear, but Kirk showed massive big dick energy right there. That was some big dick energy.
And may heaven have helped your mother.
Quite the contrary.
She considered herself a very fortunate Earthwoman.
Or what if they use the time travel thing? Or the time travel sort of maneuver to sort of change their course? Or like to even change the interaction with the initial cube?
A very interesting game, this poker.
It does have advantages over chess.
I'll teach it to you.
This is the commander of the Viserys.
Here it comes. Is it raise or call?
The destruction of your vessel has been delayed. We will relent in your destruction only if we have proof of your Corbomite device.
Hold on that. Let him sweat for a change.
They were trying to raise, but he called. I love the poker analogy.
Ship to ship.
Hailing frequency, sir.
Request denied.
I have visual contact, Captain.
Show yourself.
And having permitted your primitive efforts to see my form, I trust it has pleased your curiosity.
I mentioned curiosity before.
Another demonstration of our superiority.
How are these guys more advanced than us when they can't even tilt their head more than 10 degrees each way? Oh, they... I mean, your space station looks like something out of the B movie.
It's a small ship.
About 2,000 metric tons.
It has been decided that I will conduct you to a planet of the First Federation.
Oh, so we're going to a planet.
Capable of sustaining your life form.
Okay,
There
interesting.
you will disembark and be interned. Do not be deceived by the size of this pilot vessel. It has an equal potential to destroy your vessel.
Is he capping as well? Is he lying? Is he trying to do the same tactic?
Sustain your gravity and atmosphere. Your systems are now open. Will result in the instant destruction of the Enterprise and everyone aboard.
Is he bluffing? Is he bluffing? I mean, they're being towed, so they do have some power, but like, who's gonna call whose bluff? The tensions are high this episode. I like it. Because it's like human intelligence versus alien intelligence, and Kirk's trying to outsmart the other. Even Spock, who's half and half. The brains are working this episode. Yo, did anyone see McCoy in the background right there? He was like... He's holding on to D-Life. I love the scale in this episode as well. Because we saw how the Enterprise itself was dwarfed by this massive entity or space station or whatever it is. And then they deploy a spaceship much smaller, which can just drag the Enterprise like a rabid dog, like literally on a leash.
She'll blow soon.
Now, Mr. Sulu, impulse power 2.
But they're obviously draining its power, which is a strategic play here, but...
Sir, I doubt if the mothership could have heard it.
Plot a course for it, Mr. Bennett.
Forward, Captain.
Dead ahead.
They have to help him out. This is another test.
Sir? The face of the unknown. I think I owe you a look at it. Yes, sir.
Captain, request permission to...
Denied. If I'm wrong, if it's a trap, I want you here.
Makes sense. Even though Spock is so curious, it makes sense. Yo, these things must be tiny.
It's a dummy.
Remember I talked about
Puppet of some kind.
their heads moving like less than 10 degrees? It must have been maybe a tiny entity operating it.
Come aboard.
That's Baylock. Oh my gosh, that's even more creepier. I'd rather stick with the Megamind heads. Imagine that big ass space station was an illusion. Could be.
Go ahead. Be seated.
Is that a puppet?
We must drink. This is Tranya. I hope you relish it as much as I.
A little weirded out at the moment. Don't drink what the guy is giving you.
Metabolic.
I know. 1,000 questions. But first, the Tranya.
Is the audio dubbed? This is the boss baby over here. But I'm creeped out.
You must admit he's effective. You would never have been frightened by me. And I thought my
I am frightened by you.
Quite clever. It was a pleasure testing you.
Testing us? I see.
I had to discover your real intentions.
But you probed our memory banks.
Your records could have been a deception on your part. I have no crew, Doctor. I run everything. This entire complex from this small ship. But I miss company, conversation. Even an alien would be welcome. Perhaps one of your men. For some period of time. An exchange of information, cultures.
Yes, both our cultures would benefit.
I'll make plenty of mistakes.
But you'd find out more about us that way. And I'd get a better officer in return.
Bro.
I see. We think much alike, Captain.
Okay, so it's not a puppet. It's
you and I.
Probably a child actor and the audio's dubbed.
Now, before I bring back the Fesarius, let me show you my vessel. It is not often I have this pleasure.
I have so many questions. And I feel like they're going to leave them unanswered. But I'm actually curious to see... 1 second. I'm actually curious to see whether the teachings or what Baylock teaches Kirk and his crew here, what information they receive. I wonder if that information is brought up in later episodes, if that makes sense, or like whatever teachings and learnings, traditions, or whatever information they gather from this interaction right here. I wonder if that's brought up in later episodes, or whatever tactics they used here, or whatever tactics they learned from Baylock. Like I said, the information, whatever information they received, I wonder if that's utilized in later episodes. I'm probably wrong. It could be possibly just a one-off episode about, you know, engaging or coming into contact with alien life forms. And I guess a lot of questions are meant to be left unanswered here, but I wonder if they're going to be answered in following episodes, in terms of like whatever decisions Kirk and his crew make later on. Okay, Baylock taught us this, or something along the lines of that. Or if, yeah, some things are going to be introduced that are new, that they learned from him. I'm interested to see if it's brought up, and I hope it's actually brought up, because it'll be a neat tie-in to this episode, but also a testament to the audience paying attention to what is happening in the show. But yeah, I don't want to ramble on too much at the end here, because I feel like I rambled on too much during the episode, because I felt like this is a very content heavy episode in terms of like what's to be discussed. I feel like there's a lot to discuss this episode, and I feel like I discussed too much already. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy my reaction. As always, it's been your boy Elie Moses. Take care. God bless. Peace.